Good morning, everyone. This is Crystal Cockerham with Wisdom Awakens, and this is Ask Crystal, a breakthrough show extra, and your place that empowers you to take control of your spiritual path by answering your questions, curiosities, and guidance on your current challenges so you too can experience breakthrough moments. Again, I'm your host, Crystal Cockerham, author, mentor, and feminine wisdom teacher of wisdomawakens.com. Um, Thank you for bearing with me today and the technical difficulties on my end. Unfortunately, today is the final episode of season 2 of Ask Crystal. And I was not able to get the Zoom feature to work. So this is traditional Facebook Live today. And I am, oh, Mercury retrograde. Oh, Jessica, that's so funny. I didn't even know Mercury went retrograde, but poor Mercury retrograde. But okay, yeah, let's blame Mercury retrograde. I'm good with it today. So, how are you, Jess? And how is everyone out there? Even if you're watching the replay, I'd love to know. Just shoot me a hello with your name and where you're from. And if you are joining on the replay, maybe hashtag replay would be really helpful as I'm checking the comments. Um, so, yeah, sweet endings and new beginnings, right? So, today, I just cannot believe it that today is the final episode of season 2 of The Breakthrough Show. And it just feels like this whole year, despite everything that has been going on, has really flown by. Um, and there's lots of exciting things happening. My daughter's wedding is this Saturday, so I'm definitely on the last mad dash of the crazy train in preparation for that. Jessica says, I'm grooving here. Mercury has power, but I'm more powerful. LOL. Absolutely, right? That's okay that the Zoom didn't work because, we've got alternate resources, right? I mean, traditional Zoom Live, even though I love, you know, hearing a live voice, this works all well and dandy. So, yeah, how do you I think a good topic for today is something that I have been practicing greatly is balance. And even though we are about a month into the fall equinox, equinoxes are all about balance, right? Because equinoxes, if you think about the daylight, they're equal sunlight and moonlight, or light and dark. Um, and the solstices are like the summer solstice is the longest day of sun, and the winter solstice is the shortest day and the longest night. And so, especially with when you have super exciting things happening, how do you balance that? We had um, a wedding emergency happen yesterday, and definitely the an older version of myself would have said, no problem. I don't have to reschedule or rework anything. I got this and can do it all because I'm Superwoman, right? Um, and I was really proud of the way that I handled it. And don't get me wrong, there was definitely an adrenaline rush. Um, but I really tapped in to, my spiritual guidance in my team and trusted and knew right away that it was going to be okay. And so things have just kind of shifted around, and I have been blessed with really, really close people to me who have been able to step in and help in big ways. And so yeah, a couple of things had to be, removed and shifted, but it's maintaining that balance, right? And remembering to breathe, something that I also mention and recommend as the a great first step, because it's something we automatically do and we forget the power of our breath sometimes. And so, it's really powerful. So how are you balancing? How are you seeking balance? What are you doing to maintain balance, right? Because it's very normal for the scales to be slightly off and still be balanced, right? But if they're like this, that really isn't balanced at all. Um, so, how do you keep it like where it's 50-50 or 60-40? Like what does that look like for you when things happen? And how do you counter, and this is the other key thing, how do you counter self-care and take care of yourself while you're in that out of balance scenario? So balance became a humorous topic, I know, as I began living with vertigo after so many years of teaching about balance. That's super legit. And vertigo and is it Meniere's disease? I have a friend who has that. And my mom, back in June, she had a bleeding aneurysm. Before that, she had vertigo. But, as things are coming up, her balance still isn't great. And they have found a vertebrae is crushing on the nerves. And so she's still falling like crazy. And that physical balance is very, very scary. Balance is completely individual for the person and individual for the moment. Absolutely, that's what I'm talking about. Totally. Um, so what are you doing? What do you do to take care of yourself to kind of, shift it to where you feel like you're in balance, 60-40, 40-60, 50-50, right? The 50-50 is perfect, and perfect like never happens, right? So when something happens and you go up to like 90-10, how do you start bringing that back? And what do you do to take care of yourself? So using, myself as an example, because this is a very recent development for me with the way that this week has been playing out, and it's not funny and funny that Mercury's in retrograde, because I'm super curious as to when that started. So some things that I've been doing is really, really making a super conscious effort to drink more water. And when you're flying by the seat of your pants, it's not always um, that easy. And like last night, I could have stayed up and like burned the midnight oil, but I made myself go to bed um, at like 10 to 11. And I put on a guided, not a guided, but just an instrumental, like 1111 hertz kind of thing, just to help quiet my mind. Um, and also, I'm really watching what I'm eating, because it's super easy to only have junk food when you're really busy. So I've been really mindful about that. So those are little things. And then asking for help, right? That was huge for me. Jessica says regular check ins and an amazing circle of people around me who can notice an imbalance maybe when I don't. Yeah, and that is really such a blessing, such a blessing. Um, so one of the things that I had to, um, I should say, take off of my plate was being present at a holistic sale today, where I was going to be doing book signings and stuff. And one of my clients, so I was working with the establishment. And I'm like, maybe I could come in and set my stuff up so it could be present, blah, blah, blah. And one of my clients said, I am really called to do that for you. And she's going there today and is, going to represent me and speak for me. I mean, what a blessing to have people like that in your life. And she's not the only one who really just said, yeah, whatever you need, let me know. It's so, so powerful. And so, of course, checking in with yourself, checking in with your guidance, but even healers need a healer, right? Or that perfect person who isn't going to keep you in a story or let you go to a dramatic response and keep you in the drama of the situation. Like someone who just really, truly can hear you and maybe advise you, honestly, just listening is very, very powerful too. Jessica says, also a big way I stay in balance is a flexible schedule. When I can flow with what feels good in the moment and what I need in a moment, I stay balanced. I have found that myself too, Jess. That really is key for me. And it's not an easy dance to grasp at first when you're used to, I'm just doing this, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes it's a huge shift, but for me, I find that I'm actually more productive. And so when fires show up that need immediate attention, and more attention than normal, it's so like the flow of bringing things back in balance, it just comes with so much more ease the more that I practice like the block scheduling, and weaving in movement. So there are times where I'm working on the computer from 8 to midnight, but that's the flow I'm in and I just allow for it. And there's times where sometimes I'm woken up really early and I just get right in and I go with that too. Um, so it really, when it's doable, it's really a lovely, lovely thing. So that's huge. And stresses in our life, even any inciting moment, are stresses. So even if it's an exciting thing, a happy thing, your body receives it as stress. And if it's not a happy thing, if it's something like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this, your body receives it as a stress. So the difference in how you process those is we're, as humans, in having a human experience, we like to follow the flow of the happy moments. So, the first reaction or response our body has to stress is inflammation. But when we ride out the emotions and we're expending the energy that's generated from it, the inflammation doesn't really linger or set in or create a disruption unless we're constantly on a high and we don't ever come down and allow the rest to happen. And when it's something that's overwhelming or we attach some kind of negative emotion to it, it's really easy to get trapped in that. And then that's when the reaction really starts continuing to happen because we're not expending the energy and letting it flow. And our bodies become inflamed, right? And that can wreak havoc on our physical system in many ways, including disrupting our sleep, our eating patterns, tummy upsets, our bathroom patterns, all of that. So when any of that is happening, it's really a good indicator to look at, where am I really out of balance and what can I do to shift that, right? So really thinking about, what is triggering me, so to speak. Um, are you still with me, Jess? So I'm really excited. I haven't done any of my normal go-to things around looking up the actual, I call it stats or themes of the new moon that is happening tomorrow. But new moons are wonderful new beginnings, wonderful intention setting. And one thing that often goes overlooked is when you set a new intention, things get put into place for you to clear, whether it's patterns, a space, a habit, in order to allow the space to open to bring in what you are looking to manifest. So, excuse me. So around the new moon, when you, especially as women, they're not, yes, it's powerful potential manifesting time, but it's also a time to look at what isn't working and clear that away to support what you're manifesting. Um, and so, if balance is something that you're looking to seek more of, then really start kind of asking yourself the questions, right? Like, how much time do I really spend just on me, right? Journaling, taking care of yourself, quiet time. Um, can also, any of those could also be dubbed and blanketed under sacred space or sacred time. Um, your professional aspect, your personal, family unit and friends, your family, um, like where could there be more roundedness, more balance coming into play? And sometimes that doesn't look like it's equal percentage on everything. Sometimes it's just making a small tweak in order to feel and start attaining and achieving that balance. Um, okay. So that is, I mean, balance is big, right? And also in the fall, we start preparing ourselves for our inner journey, our inner descent, our reflective period. And it's like reviewing every year on my birthday, and a lot of people do this around the new year, but I do it on my birthday. And I also really utilize the seasons to help me with my um, my personal growth and my spiritual development aspect as well. So my birthday ritual is really reflecting on my past year, right? Using my birthday as the year marker. And, that's when I examine, what was it that I wanted to accomplish or achieve for myself, in the past year, and how much of that still holds true for me, that it's still on my list, even if I haven't. Because another thing that is often overlooked is we hold so tightly onto what we say we want, that we forget that on the journey we change. So our wants, our needs, our desires naturally follows that those shift and change too, but we always forget to allow them to evolve with us. So, the check-ins, throughout the year. So my birthday is really close to the summer solstice. My birthday is June 30th. So, that period of time is really key for me. And as we move through the fall, I recheck in with those. So I'm kind of not constantly, but consistently checking in with aspirations, goals, what I'd like to do, what I'm working on for myself. And Jess says it all goes along well with the astrological season. Balance for Libra, deep dive going into Scorpio, get focused for the new year with Capricorn, etc. Oh, I like that. So Jess, I honestly I really don't even know what sign the new moon is in right now. Um, in Libra, yeah, for sure. And Scorpio is like that stinger. So that's how I remember Scorpio. And Capricorn's like the foundation and the climber, right? Capricorn is the goat. Am I right? I'm not an astrologer. I have my own ways of relating to it though. Um, but yes, it is a really great and powerful check in time. And it's also the harvest season. So if you're in North America and if you're in South America, it's the spring season. So you're planting. And so the way that those two really work is really just kind of checking in constantly with the wheel in how it is. So spring is really planting seeds, seeds of intention, and the fall is harvesting, right? And so the solstice in between is okay, how do I nurture these seeds now, right? The planting is done. How much more weeding do I need? How much more nurturing needs to happen to bring them to fruition so that I can harvest? And then, of course, live in the joy of having them manifest and having them support me. Um, Jess says that's awesome to have a birthday around the halfway point of our calendar year. What a great check in time. I think so. I really love it. And yeah, because around the New Year's, I that's really not my time. Everybody gets high on the resolutions and New Year's goals, and it just really doesn't align with me. Like I'm, here in North America, that is winter, and I am really deep within my bubble. And sometimes I'm creating, and sometimes I'm clearing, and sometimes I'm just absolutely regenerating and rebooting. So when you're regenerating and rebooting or clearing, that's not a great time to set really powerful, super clear intentions or goals for you to live up to, because when you're in that space of rebooting or clearing or regenerating, you're not thinking clearly, you're clearing, right? So those goals or intentions aren't necessarily going to be they're not necessarily going to serve you in your best interest, because you're going to you'll tend to set goals that are overwhelming and unattainable, right? Because you're not thinking that way, so you're thinking super super big, so to speak. Yeah, I love my birthday in summer, and summer is my favorite time of year. um, Really like the late spring through like mid fall. That's like my time. When it's really cold, I'm like, oh, not my time. Um, and summer is by far my favorite, for sure, for sure. The sweet spot being, I'd say, mid June through mid to the end of September for me. Um, so I'd love to hear your thoughts. I keep watching the little eyeball of the people watching. And so for me, and I don't know how much um, Facebook world has caught up with all the kinks they have to work out on the new platform, but it keeps jumping from like 1 to 3 to 5 to 1 to 3 to 1 to 2. But I know Jess is still with me, and she says, easy to remember, the new moon is always in the sign we are in, and the full moon is always in the sign opposite of the sign we are in. Really? Well, let's do the math. The moon shifts signs every 3 days. The moon cycle is about 29 days. So I like that. Thank you. Never thought of it that way. I might learn astrology yet. So this month our new moon is Libra, and our full moon is opposite of Libra on the wheels, which is Aries. But we have an extra full moon this month for our calendar. Blue moon. I was just gonna say, yeah, 2 full moons in a month is a blue moon. So that means super powerful releasing. And the second full moon happens to fall on Halloween, which if you follow the lunar wheel of the year, that's, a thinning of the veil between the worlds. So intuitions are going to be super spiked and super high. So the full moon, while will be in Aries, the next one will be in Aries. So while we're triggered, and it's going to show us what we're releasing. Oh, that one is in Taurus. Taurus is the bull and stubbornness, though, right? Gemini is the twins. Told you I'm not an astrologist. Oh boy, we're all getting a lesson. You get a live view of Crystal getting a lesson and figuring it out here. So Taurus is the stubborn one, and they like shiny objects. But what I'm really feeling for the time between the new moon and leading up to the full moon is all of your intuitive senses are going to be super heightened. And so what that means is we're going to continue to receive information, but we're really going to have to tap into our quantum being and being able to both receive information, process what's being triggered, and release all at the same time. So energetically, that can be challenging and draining. But depending on where all of these things are in your chart, because I'm a firm believer in that, it could either make you super tired or it can make you super energetic. So really being allowed to kind of ride that wave. So how'd I do on that, Jess? Yeah. So I'm not sure where you are in the world. Meh, it's all in flow. Those folks in Australia getting things before us, I say within a couple of days you're good. Thank you for being that opposite, opinion. I love it. You're so funny. Meh. That's great. Um, so now I forgot what I was saying when you threw me off with that one. That was hilarious. Um, I lost it. Oh, I know what I was going to say. I don't know where you are on the globe, and honestly, I don't even know about my area. Um, but trick or treating and Halloween parties, I'm not sure how that's all going. So I'm just curious if you're watching right now, but whatever your real time is um, in the replay. How is your area, and how are you handling Halloween if you have children or teenagers? I'm curious. LOL, I try. Hashtag it's gone. What do you mean? What's gone? Hashtag it's gone. Um, yeah, so I'm just super curious. My kids are all young adults, so it's really not something I have to think about. They have not canceled here yet, but they canceled in the town we just moved from. Oh, got it. Yeah. When my kids started getting older, one thing that we started doing was they would we would go to what's called Huckleberry Railroad. And what it is an old time village, like literally an original general store, an old time turn of the 20th century, so early 1900s, late 1800s village. Um, oh, yeah, my thought was gone. Yeah, and then it came back. Um, like an old time merry-go-round. You could do a haunted train ride. And they would do trick or treating in the village, and you would also get donut and cider. And so that was a lovely thing that we did around Halloween when they were younger. And then as they got older, what we started doing was like Halloween movie marathons. And so, of course, Disney always did um, a really good job with those things. Halloween Town was a favorite with my kids. Um, and then, of course, Johnny Depp, when he brought out the Legends of Sleepy Hollow movie, we watched that a few years in a row on Halloween. And in our household, it's always time for Harry Potter. So whether it's, it doesn't matter, the summer, it doesn't matter. We do the Switch Witch anyway. But I don't see it as much different germ wise than buying it in the store. Wash your hands after and you're good. What's the Switch Witch? And I don't know that. I've never heard of that. I might be dating myself because I've never heard that term. It's the day for Crystal to get an education. My girls have been watching The Nightmare Before Christmas on repeat. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Yeah. Um, so that's what we did, and we're a big Harry Potter household. So when the kids were little, I used to make kettle corn, sometimes caramelized corn, and I'd mix it, and I we would do like butterbeer or cider, and we would just you know watch a movie and pass out candy. Um, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what it was for us. And we barely get any trick-or-treaters here. And I do the teal pumpkin. So it's funny because I offer the kids both candy or a treat, right? The teal pumpkin, a non-edible candy item. And, you know, 90% of the time, now you're talking, I get like 6 to 10 trick-or-treaters, but 90% of the time they go for the non-candy item. So I think that's really, really cool. Switch Witch, we put on the shelf. We leave her the candy the kids get and they can eat for allergy reasons, and she leaves them things they can have instead. We also are Teal Pumpkin House, only serving allergy friendly treats. Oh, I love that. Oh, yes, Switch Witch. Gosh, I never heard of that. My oldest daughter has always had a lot of food allergies, and so we'd always split up for trick or treating because, of course, the other two, they were like, run, run, run. And she was all about the experience. She was totally enraptured with all the decorations, and she liked having conversations with people. And then when we would get home, we would they would trade, so that she would trade away the candy that she couldn't have for the candy that she could have. And then, of course, we always donated a bunch of candy because you can imagine how much candy came into the house with 3 kids. A lot. Way too much. Jess, I can't imagine how much candy comes into your house with with your with your group. Um, so I really just want to say thank you so much to all the viewers, all the listeners, whether you've joined me live or on the replays, for making Ask Crystal a successful season. Um, you know, 2 years running. And I really am looking so forward to next year and coming back with a third season of Ask Crystal. And it's all because of viewers, and for your input and your energy. So I really hope that you've enjoyed our little chat today, on balance and finding balance, and life's one great balancing act. I think that's a Dr. Seuss quote. Um, and um, and then our little Halloween. So maybe our ideas will give you ideas if trick-or-treating or festivities are canceled in your area. I hope you all have a beautiful end, um, or time between now and the end of 2020, and you ring in the 2021 super, super blessed. Um, it, it has been, thank you, Jess. She says, yay, it has been such a pleasure and honor seeing the growth of Ask Crystal, and watch her on the 23rd for our Where Are They Now episode. Yes, next week is the final episode for the Breakthrough Show. So on the 23rd, I have I have a tiny little clip in there with Jess, along with some of the other past, um, guests and hosts of the Breakthrough. It's always a fun episode to watch. I know it was always a blast doing it, as a panelist. And I am so looking forward to more and more and more. So, this has been Crystal Cockerham of Wisdom Awakens for the Breakthrough Shows Extra Ask Crystal. I hope you have a beautiful day.